Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Cord Cutting TV, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, Monson Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, Oculto, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners. Good morning. Oh, I look weird today. Too much. I need to adjust my camera angle. Hi, how is everybody doing today? Today is Tuesday. I was fiddling around with some settings and light and this, that, and the other. And what am I doing all the way up on the screen? My forehead is about to touch the ceiling. I will fix that tomorrow, I promise. Anyhow, it is a pleasure to see you today. Today is the first day of April. We are already in spring. The weather is starting to get warm, but ever so slightly. I'm still enjoying the cool mornings and the cool evenings here in Colonia La Avena, and I hope you are enjoying the weather as well. Today, as always, we connect through a series of headlines and stories. And today I have, oh my goodness, I have a big story to share that has everything to do with narco culture, unrelated to us, but it's the kind of story that started developing on Saturday, and it's impossible not to pay attention to it just because it is that big. I have also a couple of updates on news and changes that are scheduled for here in Puerto Vallarta. And I have even more taco facts that I discovered between yesterday morning and today. So it is a pleasure to bring all of this to you. As always, if you have any important questions or comments, it helps a great deal if you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment. That way I can look for those when we get to the comment section later on. And if you're watching live for the first time and would like a nice little friendly welcome, all you have to do is type a capital letter N as in new, and we'll be happy to welcome you to the cluster. And for those of you that watch later on in the day on YouTube or Facebook, hello. It is great to have you, and it is great to know that you tune in to what we bring to the table. So let us get started with the news. No, not with a blank screen. Let's look at that. There you go. And let me push this button. Now it looks the way it's supposed to look. So we start with a controversy over the installation of virtual smart parking meters in Puerto Vallarta's tourist and commercial district. This is still ongoing. You may recall that at the March 14th City Council meeting, council members approved the drafting of the bidding guidelines and called for proposals for the 15-year concession of public vehicle parking services in accordance with the Municipal Development Plan, which is linked to the city's mobility and planning actions. Now, Mayor Munguia was interviewed on the matter, and he quickly clarified that his administration has barely begun the studies and has not yet determined the areas where the meters will be installed. However, their first task is to communicate with residents due to the fear that those who live in the areas where the concessions will be granted may also have to pay to park their vehicles. It is worth recalling that if you live in El Centro, your property may or may not necessarily have a parking garage. So that provides a sticky, or that presents a sticky situation in which how is the government going to deal with people living in El Centro that have no parking garage in their property? And apparently the first card free weekend in downtown Sayulita was a bit messy. Sayulita residents continue to oppose the closure of traffic in the town center, pointing out that although the measure seeks to make access pedestrian friendly, there is no control over motorcycles, golf carts, and the businesses that continue to invade sidewalks. They claim that this restriction only benefits certain sectors, but the most serious aspect, according to protesters, is that these vehicles, which are popular in the tourist destination, are driven at high speed and without safety precautions by minors, and this generates conflicts. So it's something that will or will not be fixed. Um, I think it's a great idea to be in a place where there are no cars, but we were talking about razor vehicles just a couple of days ago and how these are not officially sanctioned by the government in any kind of rules. So we can foresee that a number of laws will have to be modified to continue to allow for these things to happen. And this brings me to this story that I want to share with you. I became aware of it over the weekend. And at first I thought, I'm not going to bring it up here at Coffee and Headlines, but it became so big and so important that I just had to fill you in. This does not affect us directly, but it has a lot to do with cultural aspects of music genres in Mexico. And I ended up taking information from close to a dozen sources. And rather than citing each source, I'm just going to tell a story. If you want information about the source of information, or if you want to know more about where this information came from, I'll be happy to provide. But I hope what I share with you is enough. Our story begins with these four gentlemen. They are known as Los Alegres del Barranco. How do you say Barranco in English? Canyon. These are the joyful men of the canyon. They are a musical group from Sinaloa, and they are known for their style of regional Mexican music, and particularly for their corridos. Now, corridos are narrative ballads, and there's a subgenre of corridos which is called narco corridos, and obviously they talk about drugs and the people that consume them and the people that sell them and the people that lead the cartels. This type of music is heard and produced on both sides of the Mexico-US border. And the subgenre, I might say, is nothing new. The earliest narco corridos can be dated back to the 1930s. The challenge or the problem with narco corridos is that they refer to particular events and include real dates and places. The lyrics tend to speak approvingly of illegal activities, mainly drug trafficking. So this is how Los Alegres del Barranco make a living. They compose and perform this type of music. Now, Los Alegres del Barranco were scheduled to perform a concert at the Telmex Auditorium in Guadalajara this past Saturday. And this was to be the first time they were performing in our capital city. The Telmex Auditorium is an indoor amphitheater. It is located in Zapopan. And Telmex, of course, is the largest telecommunications company in Mexico. They sponsored the auditorium, and this auditorium is one of the main cultural centerpieces of the University of Guadalajara's Cultural Center. And the Guadalajara Cultural Center comprises this auditorium and the Santander Auditorium, which is where I go enjoy the classical music and so forth and so on. So the concert by these gentlemen was scheduled for this past Saturday. So far, so good. The problem began when the band decided to pay a tribute to El Mencho, who is the leader of the Jalisco Cartel, and they screened large photos and illustrations of El Mencho on a large screen behind them as they performed. Their set also included a tribute to Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, another well known narco leader. Now, think about a concert in which the band all of a sudden begins paying tribute to the Nazi regime and start screening swastikas in the background as they sing. Not not a pretty sight, if you ask me. And don't ask me who goes to these concerts. It's not my thing. So the concert went on. These images were screened and they were quickly projected in social media. And no, not that one, this one. And of course, news of the concert spread like wildfire and quickly made it all the way to President Sheinbaum, who quickly asked for a full investigation. As we've mentioned in the past, the current administration has absolutely no tolerance for any type of music that speaks approvingly of illegal activities and quite specifically cartel related activities. So President Sheinbaum says, quickly figure out what happened here. We cannot have this. On Sunday, the Telmex Auditorium published a letter on social media effectively washing their hands. They stated that they lamented the situation, but ultimately it was the promoter's responsibility, stating that the venue simply rents the space out to performers and it doesn't concern itself with the type of music or the type of content that is going to be presented. Ouch. This may be technically true, but the fact is that this venue is part of the cultural heritage of the Guadalajara University. And while the Guadalajara University is an autonomous institution, it is still a public university attached by the hip to the state government. Are you still with me? This whole situation put the university provost, Ricardo Villanueva, in a rather sticky situation. You see, he was the university provost for 6 years, starting in 2019, and was literally hours from ending his tenure after 6 years when all of this was taking place. His tenure actually ended yesterday, but not before him publishing a tweet in which he stated, "This tenure has challenged me in hundreds of occasions, and my last day is no exception. But we will act consistently until the very last minute. What took place this weekend at the Telmex Auditorium should not have happened and will never happen again." Of course, Jalisco Governor Pablo Lemus acted swiftly. In a decree, he immediately forbid all performances that justify or celebrate illegal activities in any event sanctioned by the government. The story is still unfolding. The Telmex Auditorium will have to pay a hefty fine, and contracts with future performers are being modified so to ensure that this will never happen again. And news of the situation traveled quickly north of the border, and the United States government quickly suspended tourist and working visas for the four performers. And all I can say at this point on this matter is tómala. Not a happy bit of news, but actually it is important that this is happening. There is a very blurred line between freedom of speech and culture and illegal activities. And I'm sure it's not a simple situation for anyone. Even Navarro Quintero, the governor of Nayarit, quickly commented, we won't have this either. As soon as we find out of any performance that has narco corridos scheduled, we'll simply pull the plug and the performance will be stopped as it happens. And this is the story that I wanted to share with you. Again, it does not affect us directly, but it is a very important part of the cultural situation that we are living in Mexico, and of course, the criminal situation that takes place in our country. Moving right along, let us take a quick look at the weather forecast. Is it just me, or is the sun a bit of a dick? Asks Snarky Weather. Well, I don't know, but it's bright outside and that makes me very happy. It is 24 degrees out there right now. Humidity is at 64%, just as yesterday. And our weather forecast for today says we're going to enjoy a humid day with clear skies, a high of 27 and a low of 14. Then tomorrow, Wednesday, we can expect a humid day with mostly cloudy skies again, with a high of 27 and a low of 15. And then Thursday, clear skies in the morning with partly cloudy skies in the afternoon, a high of 26 and a low of 15. Moving right along. Oh dear. Let's see. Oh, let me start with something that has nothing to do with anything, but I saw this photograph on the internet. This is a more accurate, more recent artist's rendering of what the new terminal of the Puerto Vallarta airport will look like when it is completed at the end of next year. It looks pretty, and we'll see and hope that the project happens and is concluded on schedule. Now, yesterday was National Taco Day, and I kept learning interesting facts throughout the day about not only the celebration, but also tacos themselves. I learned that Taco Day is commemorated since 2007, and it was an initiative begun by Televisa, the TV network. The first year that they held it, they invited a bunch of taco makers together at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City, and it was a huge success. And since then, it's been happening every single year. Now, you may wonder how much is Mexico's most popular dish consumed. And according to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, we chow, we chomp, we enjoy, we eat, we savor some 22.3 million tons of tacos per year. And the most popular tacos are pastor, carnitas, which are made of pork, as well as pastor, and also tacos de canasta, which are very popular in central Mexico, but there's a few outlets here in Puerto Vallarta. And then here's another interesting one. I personally would never have tacos delivered. I mean, it's the kind of food that you want to eat on the spot, and it is as it is served on your plate. I mean, tortillas get soggy, so I don't know how people choose to order tacos to go. Still, according to Didi Food, which is one of the food delivery platforms that operates here in Mexico, taco orders to go increased by 27% between 2023 and 2024, and pastor tacos are the most popular. I also read an article about exotic tacos, but I just couldn't stomach to bring this to your attention this morning or so early in the morning. What I mean is there are certain tacos, there are certain places in Mexico where you can order, you know, insect tacos, maguey worm tacos, scorpion tacos, and even tarantula tacos. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't try these things if they were presented to me, but it's not even 11 o'clock in the morning, so we are not going to go there. Instead, I would love to tell you about, well, first let me ask you a question. Where in Emiliano Zapata can you find a decent cup of coffee at 7:30 in the morning? How about full breakfast? How about full breakfast, great coffee with tablecloth service at an affordable price? Well, there is a place now in Emiliano Zapata. It is called Trovasi Cafe, and they open at 7:30 in the morning. So if you want to have great coffee at 7:30 in the morning and a great healthy breakfast at an affordable price, you can now do that. And I had the pleasure of conversing with Greg Mosier, the owner of this fairly new business, just a few days ago, and I want to share my conversation with you. Take a look. I'm sitting here with Greg Mosier from the new Trovasi Cafe. How are you, Greg?
I'm good. How are you, Paco?
I'm doing good.
Very good.
So you were just telling me that you've opened a few weeks ago.
We opened the first week of February.
Mm-hmm.
So now, next week, I think will be our 2-month point. So it's been an exciting adventure for me.
So we run into each other in a party and we don't know about each other. We don't know what we do. And all of a sudden I ask you, tell me about your business.
The Trovasi Cafe?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit how it originated. Little history.
Tell me about
All right.
Trovasi. Yes.
Trovasi Cafe and how it started. So obviously, I've been coming to Puerto Vallarta probably for the last 20 years.
From where?
Los Angeles.
Okay.
So basically a West Hollywood resident for the last 30 years. And I was doing real estate in West Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And we would come here to Puerto Vallarta every year for a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say about 8 years ago, we ended up buying a place here in Puerto Vallarta.
Congrats.
Yeah, so it was a really good move for us. And actually,
So you live here full time now?
not full time. We are still living half the time in LA, half the time in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay.
But we bought a house here in Las Gaviotas. You were
Okay.
mentioning Versailles before, so
Mhm.
we're right next to Versailles. And so we run a villa there as well, so a rental villa
Okay.
that's fully staffed. And I retired from real estate about 6 months ago. And obviously, once I was retired, I needed another project. And coming to Puerto Vallarta, the reason Trovasi came around is I'm an early morning person. And I was always looking for a nice place to have a coffee, maybe a little breakfast. Usually, when we travel, my first choice is I love my breakfast and I love my coffee. And usually, I'll try to find a nice cafe. Usually, they're in nice hotels because they usually have the really nice little restaurant service.
Mm-hmm.
And I could never find anything like that here in Puerto Vallarta. So we opened up Trovasi Cafe to kind of fill that niche where we could offer almost like a fine dining experience, but at a very small cafe level. So I would say, over half of our entrees are less than 200 pesos, so can touch a little less than $10, including like smoked salmon toasts and prosciutto burrata toasts. And then we do our very high quality coffee, and it's all full service with white tablecloths, uniformed waiters. We have a barista that does the coffees, and everything is pretty much made in house. All our lemonades, ginger ale, orangeades, all made in house. So we really try to use nothing that's artificial, no artificial ingredients. We try not to use any microwaves. Everything is done by ovens. And
Where
that's the
is your
concept.
kitchen? And I ask only because I know that locale very
It's a
well. It
very
used to
small
be.
space, yes.
Oh, the kitchen is that back little area?
That back little area.
Wow.
So we have 2 toaster ovens in there, a couple little hot plates, blending machines, and we do it all back there. So it's a fairly simple menu. So what we do mainly is we do our gourmet toasts, we do sandwiches. The main things that we bake at the shop, which we're famous for, is our baked au gratin potatoes. So we do that in house. We serve quiches as well. Um, but we really don't have like a big frying kitchen or anything like that. So it's very streamlined.
How did you come up with the location?
Location, I looked around town all over. And what I really liked about Los Mercados is I liked the location in that I wanted to be close to the ocean because we're about 2 blocks from the beach. I wanted to be in the romantic zone. Um, and I wanted a place that had air conditioning for the summertime, and but also had a little outdoor space. So we've set it up with 4 tables inside the space, and we've got 4 tables outside in the courtyard. And so that's kind of how I selected that space. And it's a very small space. So basically, we have 8 tables. I would say 50% of our business is sit down dining, 50% is takeout. And it's my first venture into the restaurant business. So I wanted to start small. And so that's how I ended up selecting that space.
Wow. Have you reached a point, and if you haven't, I hope you will.
Yes.
Have you reached the point in which you say to yourself, this was a good idea?
You know, I think I have. I can tell you in these 2 months, 1 week I think it's a good idea. 1 week I think, oh, I wonder if I made the right decision or not. But every week, we've gotten loyal customers that keep thanking us for being there. The toughest part is that we've developed some really loyal customers, and like this week, last week, 2 weeks ago, they tell us this is our last day here, and we won't be back until next year. So we're going to lose a lot of our steady clientele, and so we're going to see how our local clientele that are here full time will support us. But uh, from the feedback that we've gotten, um, they've really appreciated the little niche market that we're offering. That is, they say to me, it's a very unique offering. The menu is very different than what anybody else is offering here in Puerto Vallarta. Uh, we're trying to offer that more like fine dining experience, but at a breakfast cost. And I've got a really, really good staff. So the staff is really what has made the restaurant so special for me.
That is wonderful. Well, Greg, it is a pleasure to welcome you as a new business owner here in Puerto Vallarta. I hope it goes brilliantly. And this is your home. I mean, the spotlight. If you ever have any new items, or if you want to come back, or if there's anything we can do to help you
Yeah.
succeed or connect.
Yeah. I think the one thing I'd like to tell everybody is that we open at 7:30 in the morning, close at 2:30 in the afternoon. And probably the hardest thing for us is getting people to know that we are here at 7:30. We found that most of our clients usually come in around 10 o'clock in the morning, but we're gradually getting more and more that are coming in a little earlier when they find us. It's also about giving back to the community. So, like my staff right now, they're all taking their English lessons right now. So I'm supporting them and on their English courses. So they've been really excited about that.
Excellent.
So that was part of the reason too, is I really wanted something that gave back to the community.
Fantastic. Greg,
All
it's a
right.
pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Pleasure meeting you. All
Likewise.
right. And hopefully you'll come by the place.
I will definitely stop by.
Okay. Thanks, Paco.
And that was a lot of fun, having a conversation with Greg. For those of you that have been around in Puerto Vallarta for some time, Trovasi Cafe is located on the same spot where Nina Goodhope had her cork and bottle wine shop for the longest time. So it is a small space, and the office part of the space is tiny. So for me, it's almost miraculous in the best possible way that Greg is able to provide the product and service that he mentioned in such a small space. But good for him. Good for you, Greg, if you're watching. I hope you are very, very successful. The transition between visitor clientele and summer clientele can always be challenging, but the owner seems to be very well aware of the fact that this is the way it goes. So if you are looking for great breakfast early on in the day, and you are in the Emiliano Zapata neighborhood, or you want to go check it out if you are elsewhere in the city, go check out Trovasi Cafe. And please mention Coffee and Headlines, because it's a great way to spread the word of what we do here. And as always, I am looking for interviewees for the next few weeks for the spotlight. If you know of anyone that is interested in being interviewed or has something awesome to share with all of us, you know where to find me. The link to join the spotlight. I am stumbling my words. I don't know why. The link is located in the show notes every day, so you will find the spotlight registration form there. And this brings us to what just happened? Oh, I'm messing up with my that. Now I understand what's going on with my screens. I mistakenly was looking at this one and couldn't understand why I was looking funny when I should be looking at this one. Pay no attention to the guy behind the microphone. It's time for our chit chat section. Oh my goodness, I can be so ditzy sometimes. Good morning to all of you that say good morning to me. Thank you so very much. Rita, you are correct. It's been a while since we've seen your smiling face, but it's good to see you. I hope you and the missus are doing just fine. Um, let's see. Let's see. Lots of comments. Peggy Nelson, do you know that you are one of my favorite people in town? You probably don't, but and for those of you that wonder who is Peggy Nelson, well, Peggy Nelson is the president of the International Friendship Club, and all the wonderful work that this organization does speaks for itself. But if you ever have a chance to meet Peggy in person, you are a wonderful lady, and I just needed to say that. Let's see. La 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 la. Many good mornings. Thank you so much. Um, Laura says, just wanted to mention lobster tacos at Tuna Azul that are awesome, but the favorite is birria and pastor. Good for you, girl. We went to the corner where we stayed where we stayed El Gato. I think is super amazing. I'm not familiar with that particular location, but good for you. I love it. Harold wonders what the plan is to get from the current airport terminal to the new one. I've wondered that myself. Maybe they're going to install some kind of back and forth internal little monorail or train or something, but that is a good question. We'll find out soon enough. Getting up early, getting on the bus in Mismaloya and going to Big Moy for chorizo tacos is the best breakfast ever. Different strokes for different folks, and that's the beautiful thing about Puerto Vallarta. You can find just about anything here if you go looking for it. Looks like Trovasi could be a nice breakfast spot to check out. Angie and I will be in Puerto Vallarta next week. Definitely check it out, Devin. If I was in Emiliano Zapata, and because it's all the way over there. I know it's not far, but I will go at some point. I definitely want to check it out. But for those of you that meander around Emiliano Zapata early in the morning, oh my goodness, I would fly to Trovasi to check it out. Thanks for that explanation as to the space in which the cafe is located. I have to say this, and this is one reason alone why I would love to see and experience Trovasi Cafe. There is a place here in Puerto Vallarta, and I know that my pothead brain is going to... No, here it is. Los Cuentos, the people that make the beer, Los Cuentos, they have a tap room, Los Cuentos tap room, and it's really a bar, but they serve tapas. They serve small bites of food, and they cook it all in the tiniest space behind the bar. And every time I go to Los Cuentos tap room, I am amazed that such wonderful food can come out of such a small place. And I remember Nina's office within her locale where Trovasi is now located. And I just can't imagine how amazing food can be created in such a tiny place. So hats off, go to Trovasi, and I look forward to checking it out. Great pictures of the cafe on TripAdvisor. That's good to know, Paula. For the record, I send out reminders to all my interviewees to provide me with images and videos so that we can include them in the interviews. Regretfully, Greg did not send me anything, but I'm glad to know that there are great photographs out there already showing the offerings of the locale. And this brings us to the end of today. I'll continue having fun with my switcher, figuring out why I was not showing up the proper way or with a proper camera. And it's time to say goodbye. I'm off to explore a new restaurant. I was told about a new restaurant. I'm being treated to lunch to a new restaurant I know nothing about. It is in Versalles. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do a walk around for this place because we also do those. What is a walk around? It's a way to get to see what a new business or an old business is all about. I'll bring this back to you in a couple of days after I edit it. So have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Take care.